Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
A warm welcome to the show today, which is packed full of all the latest lifestyle news going on around Europe. Let's have a quick look at what we have coming up in the next half an hour. Sweet success. Thomas Gläser from Berlin is Pastry Chef of the Year. Christmas trends. A trade fair presents the must-haves for next season's festivities. And Northern Lights, searching for nature's light show in Norway. But first up, we are off to the Austrian resort of Kitzbühel, where the annual Hahnenkamm races took place last weekend. It's been an annual event there since 1931, and over the years it's become not only a sporting highlight, but also one of the glitziest party weekends around.
The annual races down the Hahnenkamm course at the Kitzbühel ski resort attract a crowd of 90,000 onlookers, along with celebrities galore, from Hollywood stars to big names from the world of motor racing.
It's just one of those happenings, you know. It's a bit like Monaco for Formula One, these things. Yeah. It's a happening.
The Hahnenkamm races are really exciting. The best in the world. It's wonderful being here.
One man who knows the Kitzbühel event better than most is David Coulthard. The former Formula One ace has been a regular here for over a decade. He knows about all the après-ski action here, from the reception at the Hotel zur Tenne to the legendary white sausage party at the Stangelwirt Hotel.
You have this big party celebration, the real mix of sporting life, real life, the people just enjoying a beer, and then this sort of high society party. There is no question there's an element of meeting the same people in any given year. We all get together and go and have some fun.
Among the familiar faces is Felix Baumgartner, the man who broke the sound barrier in free fall from the edge of space last year. The annual buggy race across the snow is a real highlight.
Yes, kids, I don't, you know, so yeah.
Coulthard takes a bend a little too ambitiously and flips over. Baumgartner triumphs with ease.
He's got good skills. He's multi-talented and he's brave.
He scared me into crashing. I was so surprised to find I was leading, and I was very close to the end, but unfortunately I just imagined he was going to dive in at the last minute and I made a mistake.
It's all about speed. Being an extreme parachutist helps. It gives me a good feeling for speed and for my vehicle. I did pretty well. We have the motorsports elite here, and I'm the only one who isn't a race car driver.
But the dynamic duo's battle goes into round two. Their charity race continues at the bottom of the Hahnenkamm descent on skis. Baumgartner is again the winner. He says the downhill slope has earned his respect.
It's a huge challenge, even for top skiers, no matter how often they've done it. Everyone's glad to make it in one piece.
What they do is incredible. The bravery, the physical aspects, they are true athletes, and the chance to ski a little bit on the downhill course would be like driving Monte Carlo after the Grand Prix.
After sundown, attention turns to the Kitz race party. The gala dinner and the party is the event to see and be seen at for the celebrity guests. David Coulthard has managed to persuade the reticent Felix Baumgartner to join the festivities.
First, I'm hungry. Plus, there's always a nice entertainment program.
We'll have a dinner, we'll drink some more. I think it's just a sort of glamorous end to the weekend. You know, just the wine, the food, everything is of the highest caliber. So I think that this sums up the best of Austrian hospitality.
Amidst the glitz and glamour of tonight's celebration, the celebrity guests are already making plans to meet up at the Hahnenkamm races again next year.
If you're lucky enough to go to Berlin's Facile restaurant, then you need to make sure that you have room for dessert. Thomas Glaser is the man behind these delicate creations, and he's just been acknowledged as Pastry Chef of the Year by one of Germany's gourmet guides. Although his works are said to taste delicious, they almost look too good to eat.
These desserts are far more than delicious delights. They contain over 40 ingredients and demand a lot of work, about 5 hours for 10 portions. They also incorporate a huge amount of creativity. It takes about 1 month to develop a product from start to finish. The mastermind behind these sweet sensations is Thomas Glaser. He works at the upmarket Facile restaurant in Berlin.
You use many more ingredients than you do for cooking meals. And you can combine a great deal. Pastries, waffle cookies, chocolate, which I particularly like anyway. There's a lot of variety and delicate work, and that's what I really enjoy about it.
Thomas Glaser always features 4 different desserts on the menu. Each costs about €20. The 36-year-old loves the precision that is required in his trade. He began training as a cook about 20 years ago and then quickly specialised in desserts. Glaser closely inspects every dish at the restaurant before it is served to the guests.
The lighting is different in the kitchen, so I sit down at a table for every dessert and pretend I'm a guest. I look at how the plate is set and if there's any reflection. A dessert has to shine a bit too. That makes it attractive to people.
12-hour working days are normal for Thomas Glaser. He uses his lunch break to go for a run and clear his mind before the evening shift begins. And to burn off the excess calories that come with the job.
I've always been a chocolate eater. As a child, I always spent my pocket money on chocolate. But my rule is when I weigh more than 80 kilos, I stop eating chocolate.
Every month, Thomas Glaser comes up with a new dessert for the Facile restaurant's menu. He draws inspiration from his travels, from visiting other restaurants and reading old cookbooks. The top priority, a dish has to be full of surprises.
It has to have something soft, something crispy, something cold. You have to keep the mouth busy. If you only eat one thing, you get bored. But if you're dealing with several ingredients, the brain has to keep working. Something crispy, then something cold, and it's liquid. That gives a much better effect.
A dessert is the last impression a guest takes home from an evening out. Thomas Glaser endeavours to make diners remember his creations as long as possible.
The Swiss Alpine resort of Château d'Y annually hosts an international balloon festival. This year, around 100 balloons took to the skies, and we were there to get a bird's eye view.
The skies over Château d'Y are crowded. Every year, hot air balloonists from all over the world converge on this village in the Swiss Alps. Hundreds of spectators have come to watch, while others will be taking to the air. The pilots prepare for takeoff in the morning. First, they blow cold air into the nylon hulls. Propane heaters cause it to expand. It takes at least an hour before a balloon is fully inflated. Geraldine Faschnacht puts on her wingsuit. Today, the Swiss extreme athlete is not just going up in a balloon, she's planning to jump out of it.
If it's a lot of wind higher up, we're gonna be pretty far from this place. It's gonna be hard to come back. But as we have really big wingsuits, normally we can fly back.
As Geraldine Fasnacht ascends, Jessica Schwarz and Philippe Duvaux are completing their preparations. The two amateur balloonists like coming to the festival to meet other enthusiasts. Today, Jessica Schwarz will be steering the balloon. This is the first time she's done that over such difficult terrain.
What's wonderful about ballooning is the freedom in the air, being outdoors and floating above everything. Suddenly everything down below is tiny and seems unimportant. It's like a dream.
The balloonists enjoy the breathtaking views of the Swiss Alps. But then things get tricky. The balloon doesn't float along the valley to its destination as planned. The wind is carrying it higher into the mountains. Geraldine Fasnacht's adrenaline level is rising too. She's reached jumping altitude, 1,500 meters. Fasnacht ignites a smoke bomb for her spectators below and jumps. The landing site is far away now, and she'll have to travel that distance at up to 180 kilometers an hour. She free falls for almost 4 minutes before opening her parachute. Fasnacht makes a precision landing back in Chateau d'Ay.
I told you before, the difficulty is always to come back, because as with the balloon, we have just to follow the air. And by the time we were up there, we were already pretty far away, so we had to wait to come back a little bit with the balloon, and then to be sure that we could come back with the wingsuit.
Meanwhile, Jessica Schwarz and Philippe Duvaux have also mastered the difficult wind conditions.
We're moving in the right direction again. We had to find the altitude where the wind will take us in the direction we want to go.
After they're back on track, they start to descend. The landing area is not very large. The main challenge is not to crash into the surrounding buildings.
Comment? Ah, es ist celui-là, d'accord.
Ferm. Worum geht's gerade?
We've now landed lying on our side, and Philippe says I did a good job because we were travelling at 19 kilometres an hour when we landed. And that's a lot, relatively speaking.
The two balloonists pack up their balloon. The pickup vehicle is already on its way from Chateau d'Ay. The sky above the little village is gradually clearing as the last balloons prepare to land.
Sweden's Henning Mankell is one of the world's top crime writers. His novels about the grumpy detective Kurt Wallander have sold about 40 million copies around the world. This Sunday, Mankell turns 65, so what better occasion than this to meet up with him and celebrate his work to date.
The French port town of Antibes in winter. Even in January and February, temperatures often reach 10 degrees Celsius or more. Swedish author Henning Mankell feels at home here, although he's hardly basking in the sun. He's working on screenplays and a new thriller.
I always lived in many different places, so I think I like very much to have this possibility to stay here in France in winter time when I do not go to Africa. It's simple as that.
Mankell owns a house in the town's historical district. He says Antibes offers him a welcome respite from the attention he and his wife Eva Bergman attract in Sweden. Eva is the daughter of Swedish film director Ingmar Bergman, who died in 2007. Mankell is currently working on a TV series about his late father-in-law. All of of his 11 books about Inspector Kurt Wallander have been filmed, including his novel Before the Frost. Someone sets fire to swans, which then fly across the landscape in flames. An extreme religious cult wants to punish the sinners of the world, even children.
We live in a very, very violent world. And the only way that I can make what I write about the world understandable is that I use violence. Without this violence, what I write wouldn't be understandable, because people know that the world we're living in is violent.
In an event in August based on the 2004 novel, Inspector Kurt Wallander discovers a woman's corpse in his own back garden. His investigations lead him to a pimp. Only a quarter of Munkel's novels can be described as crime fiction. He also writes books for young adults and novels about the fate of women. His topics have included turbulent love affairs, the fate of immigrants, or, in the case of his newest work, a Swedish brothel owner in Mozambique.
Something we know is that we have to change the situation for women in the world, to give women more influence politically, to really be able to change the world. And that, I guess maybe it would be interesting if a man wrote about it.
Munkel spends half the year in Mozambique, where he directs the Avenida Theatre and prepares material especially for an African audience. He has also donated several million euros to children's homes in Africa.
Especially what interests me is that the fact that we are living in quite a terrible world, where the gap between those who have, that's you and me, and the others that doesn't have is widening the whole time.
Henning Munkel's next thriller will be set in Mozambique. And this fall, a book about his own rise to fame will hit the bookstores. The work is aptly called Munkel on Munkel.
Now, although you might think it's a bit early to see this picture here behind me, if you're in the business of Christmas decorations, then this is when the season gets started. The annual Christmas World Trade Fair in the German city of Frankfurt showcases all of the new trends we can expect to see later this year.
It's that time of year again. Christmas is just around the corner. Well, in Frankfurt at least, where the world's biggest Christmas ornament fair is taking place. Designer Damien de Rochard has come all the way from Paris.
The fact that the fair takes place so early is brilliant, because it gives us time to be creative before Christmas and to develop our own sort of poetry.
Damien de Rochard decorates private homes as well as hotels and large-scale events. He's been coming to Christmas World for the last 12 years. First, he scouts out the market.
It's wonderful. You can place the wings anywhere, for example on the Christmas tree or behind this lovely Christmas bauble.
Damien de Rochard is just one of the estimated 30,000 visitors who came to Christmas World this year. With some 1,000 exhibitors, the fair's the biggest of its kind. Exhibits range from traditional German handicrafts as well as glasswork from Egypt to pure kitsch. And the downright bizarre. It's Christmas overload.
In the past, the Christmas tree was perhaps the centerpiece, and the baubles were hung on the tree. Now the tree is a part of the total decoration, and it's already set up during Advent and can be seen for 4 or 5 weeks.
For Damien de Rochard, the Christmas bauble remains a staple of seasonal decoration. He's ordered pastel-colored baubles from the same German company that supplied the baubles for his metallic Christmas tree.
We spend between 50 and 70,000 euros here on materials and accessories for our creations.
After all, he's not the only one for whom Christmas is their bread and butter. In Germany alone, consumers spend about 2.7 billion euros on festive products. Whatever happens in 2013, one thing is certain. There will be plenty of reindeer about next season.
We never tire of Christmas. After all, our profession is a magical one, and we can come up with our own trends. On the contrary, in fact, it's really exciting. The year is hardly over, and we're already in the mood for trying out new materials and colours.
For everyone else who needs a break from Christmas, there are 10 months left before it's time to celebrate another festive season.
A lot of people travel to the far north of Europe at this time of the year in the hopes of seeing one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, the Northern Lights. Our reporter headed some 340 kilometres north of the Arctic Circle to a Norwegian city called Tromsø. This is where he met up with local guide Carina Weinschenk for a photo safari with a difference.
In the city of Tromsø, the Northern Lights can be admired by night, and in Norway's largest planetarium by day. The spectacular images are part of a 30-minute digital show called Experience the Aurora. But many people still want the real thing. When the locals are nestled indoors on wintry evenings, the tourists are wide awake. They board buses to the outskirts of Tromsø in hopes of seeing the Northern Lights. Carina Weinschenk also takes her van out every evening in search of the Aurora Borealis. But there's no guarantee of success.
But I will try my best.
The tours head outside the city where there are no artificial lights to interfere with the view. Another crucial factor, of course, is a cloudless sky. Weinschenk's photos of the Northern Lights inspire the tourists to take out their cameras too. But most of them need a few tips first.
You just put it on infinity. Manual focus on. 2.5 seconds, I think that is a little bit too less, but 2.8, that is good.
And then it's time to be patient and hope they will make an appearance. The Northern Lights.
With a clear sky, you can sometimes see the Northern Lights, but not always. The shortest Northern Light I ever saw was 5 minutes. But it can also be the entire night.
For adventurous types, there's also an Aurora Borealis safari 200 kilometers away, complete with reindeer-drawn sleighs. Most of the tours are offered by indigenous Sami people, but tonight it's overcast.
Yeah, it's snowing, so you never know. But you can also always cross all the fingers and toes and everything, feet and leg and everything. Because last night when we were traveling with reindeer here, it was snowing like this, but suddenly it was breaking up and we saw the Northern Light a little bit. So you never know when you are traveling outside. The most important is being outside, stay outside, not sit inside.
Tonight, the Aurora Borealis failed to make an appearance. A disappointment, but many tourists, like this family from Australia, will give it another try.
We came to Norway to see the Northern Lights, so we spent about a week here in Tromsø and been on 3 different tours to see the lights. Each night it's been different. We've seen them. They've been very spectacular. We've enjoyed it a lot. We've done some dog sledding and tonight we did some reindeer sledding.
Carina Weinschenk is also having her patience tested tonight. She and her group have already driven nearly 360 kilometers. And finally, they're rewarded, at least a little bit.
I always take photos myself too. Many people only use a digital camera, so they can't take such good pictures of the northern lights. That's why I always take a few and then I email them to people who only had a digital camera or who weren't able to take pictures for one reason or another.
The intrepid tour group drove almost as far as the Finnish border in search of the northern lights. After 8 hours on the road, at 3 in the morning, they finally returned to Tromsø.
And that brings us to the end of our highlight show. So all that's left for me to do is wish you all a wonderful end to your day. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.